Another threat out of North Korea in the ongoing series of military muscle flexing as the United States and South Korea continue conducting exercises. The targets of this latest threat, U.S. air bases on nearby Guam and Okinawa. The North is using new, increasingly aggressive language in response to recent U.S. preemptive strategies. A spokesperson for the Korean People's Army says in a statement, the U.S. should not forget that these bases are within DPRK's striking range.
Now that the U.S. has started open nuclear blackmail and threats, the DPRK, too, will move to take corresponding military actions.
Now, this comes after what the New York Times is calling a rare action, the Pentagon publicly announcing training missions by American B-52 bombers over the Korean Peninsula. The stated goal to reiterate the United States' support for South Korea and Japan during a time when the North's actions are gaining traction. North Korea is calling the U.S. military missions an unpardonable provocation, especially as contention between the two countries continues to grow. The Korean Central News Agency blames the U.S., calling it the arch criminal and threatening. Should the U.S. imperialist intrude into the territorial waters, air, and land of the DPRK even 0.001 millimeter, its armed forces and people will annihilate the aggressors with strong retaliatory strikes and achieve the final victory in the long-standing showdown with the U.S. Other countries are worried about the language of the threats. Sky News reports the UK government says it takes any threat seriously, and there is some concern over the more harsh rhetoric coming from the DPRK. And while these threats are not new, a former director for Asian affairs at the National Security Council highlights the abnormal backdrop for this situation. About a year of very unpredictable behavior by a new leadership and a sequence of provocations that is more concentrated than we have seen in the last 20 years. This is a little bit different and more concerning. Concerning enough, the former director says he fears an attack on South Korea by the North could come soon. Since 1992, the North has engaged in a military provocation soon after a South Korean presidential inauguration. South Korea's first female president, Park Geun-hye, began her term February the 25th. I'm Jim Flink for Newsy. Multiple sources, a broader view.